So you want to own a Costco membership. It seems like a simple decision. You pay a fee, you get access to cheaper groceries, you save money, end of story. Except that's not actually how Costco works, because Costco is one of the strangest businesses in America. Think about it. Imagine a restaurant charging you an annual fee just for the right to eat there, or a gas station charging you a membership before you can fill your tank. Most businesses would never dare try something like that. Customers would laugh, they'd leave, they'd go somewhere else. Yet somehow Costco convinced more than 78 million households around the world to do exactly that every year. And here's the truly fascinating part. Costco doesn't just charge a membership fee. It built one of the most successful retail empires in history around that fee. A company generating well over $250 billion in annual revenue. A company with customer loyalty most brands can only dream about. A company where renewal rates in the United States and Canada regularly exceed 90%. In other words, once people join Costco, they rarely leave. And that's what makes Costco economically fascinating, because Costco isn't really selling groceries. It isn't really selling gasoline. It isn't even selling giant packs of toilet paper. Costco is selling commitment. And once you understand that, you'll understand why a Costco membership can either save a household thousands of dollars or quietly cost them thousands. Because the true cost of owning a Costco membership isn't the membership fee. It's everything that comes after. The extra driving, the bulk purchases, the impulse buys, the food waste, the time, the habits, the psychology. Today we're going to calculate the real economics of owning a Costco membership, not the advertised cost, the total cost of ownership. And by the end of this video, you'll know whether Costco is one of the best financial decisions an American family can make or one of the most effective spending machines ever created.
To understand the economics of owning a Costco membership, we first need to understand a surprising fact. Costco doesn't make money the way most retailers do. Let's imagine you own a traditional store. You buy a product for $10. You sell it for $15. You keep the difference. Simple. That's how retail has worked for generations. The higher your markup, the more profit you earn. Walmart does it, Target does it, grocery stores do it, department stores do it, everyone does it. Except Costco. Costco intentionally limits its markup. Historically, the company has often capped markups at roughly 14 to 15%. In many cases, that's dramatically lower than traditional retailers, which raises an obvious question. If Costco charges less than competitors, how does it make money? The answer is hiding in your wallet. Membership fees. Every Costco member pays before they buy a single item, before the first gallon of milk, before the first rotisserie chicken, before the first television. Costco gets paid first. That might not sound revolutionary, but from a business perspective, it's genius. Because membership fees create something every company wants: predictable revenue. Let's compare two customers. Customer A visits Costco once every few months. They spend only $500 annually. Customer B practically lives at Costco. They spend $15,000 every year. From a traditional retailer's perspective, customer B is far more valuable. But Costco sees something else. Both customers pay the membership fee. Both contribute recurring revenue. Both help fund the business before purchasing anything. This creates an entirely different incentive structure. Most retailers focus on maximizing profit per transaction. Costco focuses on maximizing renewals. The company doesn't need to squeeze every possible dollar out of every shopping trip. It simply needs members to feel they're getting enough value to renew next year. That's why Costco can afford to sell products with unusually low markups, because the membership fee is already doing part of the work. And once you understand that, many of Costco's seemingly strange decisions start making sense. Take the famous hot dog combo, a hot dog and soda for $1.5, not $2.5, not $3.99, not adjusted for inflation, around $1.5 for decades, in an era when almost everything else became more expensive. Why? Because Costco isn't optimizing the profit from the hot dog. It's optimizing the value perception of the membership. Every time a customer buys that hot dog, they're reminded that Costco is a good deal. And every time they feel that way, renewal becomes more likely. The same logic applies to another Costco legend, the rotisserie chicken. For years, Costco has sold rotisserie chickens for approximately $4.99, even when production costs increased, even when inflation surged, even when feed prices climbed. Why? Because the chicken isn't really the product. The membership is. The chicken simply reinforces the idea that membership is valuable. Economists call this a loss leader strategy. A company intentionally sells certain products at extremely low margins, sometimes even close to cost, to attract customers and stimulate additional spending. But Costco takes the concept even further, because unlike a normal loss leader, Costco already collected money before you entered the store. That membership fee fundamentally changes the economics. Now consider what happens psychologically. You've already paid to join, maybe $65, maybe more if you have an executive membership. That money is gone. You can't get it back. And that's where human psychology enters the story. Behavioral economists call this the sunk cost effect. People tend to continue investing time, effort, or money into something simply because they've already invested in it, even when the original expense shouldn't affect future decisions. In theory, once you've paid the membership fee, it shouldn't matter. Future shopping decisions should be based only on prices and convenience. But humans don't behave that way. If you've already paid for Costco, you feel a subtle pressure to use Costco. Otherwise, the membership feels wasted. And that's where Costco's business model becomes incredibly powerful. The moment you pay that fee, Costco is no longer competing only on price. It's competing with your own psychology. And that tiny shift changes everything. Because once you've become a member, the question is no longer, should I shop at Costco? The question becomes, how do I get the most value from my membership? And that single change in mindset drives billions of dollars in consumer behavior every year.
If you ask most people what Costco sells, the answers are usually predictable. Groceries, gasoline, electronics, furniture, bulk household supplies. And technically, they're all correct. But economically speaking, none of those are Costco's most important product. Because Costco's biggest product isn't something you can put into a shopping cart. It's trust. And trust might be the most valuable asset in retail. Think about a typical shopping trip. At most stores, customers constantly wonder, is this a good price? Can I find it cheaper online? Should I wait for a sale? Am I getting ripped off? Those questions create friction. Every purchase requires mental effort. Every decision requires comparison. Every comparison takes time. Costco tries to eliminate that process. The company has spent decades teaching customers a simple lesson. If it's in Costco, it's probably a good deal. Not necessarily the absolute cheapest deal, not always, but usually a good deal. And that belief changes behavior. Because once customers trust the pricing, they stop comparing. And when customers stop comparing, they buy faster. And often, they buy more. That's an incredibly powerful economic advantage. In fact, trust may be worth more than any discount Costco offers. Let's look at one of the most famous examples, the rotisserie chicken. For years, Costco has sold rotisserie chickens for approximately $4.99, millions upon millions every year. Today, Costco sells more than 130 million rotisserie chickens annually. That's an astonishing number. To put it into perspective, that's more chickens than the population of most countries. And here's the crazy part. Industry analysts have long suggested that Costco earns very little profit on those chickens. Some estimates suggest margins are razor thin. So why keep doing it? Simple. Because the chicken isn't the business. The chicken is marketing. Imagine a family entering Costco specifically for a $4.99 chicken. They save a few dollars compared to alternatives. They feel smart. They feel they're getting value. Then they walk through the warehouse. They pass snacks, beverages, paper towels, seasonal products, electronics, furniture, and suddenly that $4.99 chicken becomes part of a $200 shopping trip. Costco understands something many businesses don't. Customers rarely evaluate value mathematically. They evaluate it emotionally. If one item feels like a bargain, the entire shopping experience feels like a bargain. That's trust economics in action. And Costco has another legendary example, the hot dog combo. A hot dog and soda for $1.50. For decades. Inflation happened, labor costs increased, food costs increased, transportation costs increased. Everything got more expensive. Yet the hot dog remained. Why? Because Costco isn't protecting the margin. It's protecting the story. The story that Costco fights for consumers. The story that Costco is different. The story that membership is worth keeping. And stories are powerful, because stories influence behavior more than spreadsheets. Most members have never calculated exactly how much money they save annually, but they remember the chicken. They remember the hot dog. They remember the giant package of paper towels that seemed cheaper than anywhere else. Those experiences reinforce trust, and trust drives renewals. But trust alone doesn't explain Costco's success. Because if trust was enough, every retailer would simply copy the strategy. The real secret lies in how Costco uses trust to create one of the strongest economic engines in retail. And that engine starts with something most customers never notice: selection. Or more accurately, the lack of selection. Because Costco intentionally sells far fewer products than traditional retailers. And that sounds completely backwards. After all, isn't more choice supposed to be better? Well, not necessarily. A typical Costco warehouse carries roughly 4,000 products. Now compare that to a Walmart supercenter. Over 120,000 products. Some estimates are even higher. Think about that difference. Walmart offers more than 20 times as many choices. Yet Costco continues attracting millions of loyal customers. Why? Because every additional choice creates complexity. Let's imagine you need olive oil. At a traditional supermarket, you might face 10 brands, 5 bottle sizes, multiple origins, different price points, organic options, premium options, imported options. Suddenly, a simple purchase becomes a decision-making exercise. Costco takes a different approach. Instead of giving you 10 options, it might give you 1, maybe 2. And usually those options were aggressively negotiated with suppliers. Costco's buyers select products they believe offer strong value. Then they purchase enormous quantities. That volume gives Costco bargaining power. And bargaining power leads to lower prices. This is where economies of scale enter the picture. The more units Costco purchases, the lower the cost per unit often becomes. The lower the cost, the lower the selling price can be. The lower the selling price, the more value members perceive. The more value members perceive, the more likely they renew. Everything connects back to the membership. Always. Even decisions that appear unrelated. But there is another consequence of limited selection. And it's one of the most important economic advantages Costco possesses. Inventory efficiency. Every product sitting on a shelf represents money. Retailers must buy inventory before customers purchase it. If inventory moves slowly, cash becomes trapped. If inventory moves quickly, cash returns faster. Costco is famous for moving inventory rapidly. Instead of carrying hundreds of versions of the same item, it focuses on a smaller number of high-volume products. That means products sell faster, shelves turn over faster, cash cycles faster, and operational costs stay lower. It's a surprisingly elegant system. Fewer products, higher volume, lower costs, better pricing, stronger member value, higher renewal rates. The machine feeds itself. But Costco isn't finished. Because after building trust, after creating value, after simplifying choices, the company introduces one final ingredient. A psychological force so powerful that it can convince people to buy things they never intended to purchase. And it might be the single most profitable part of the entire Costco experience. Scarcity. The feeling that if you don't buy something today, you might never get another chance. And that's where the economics become truly fascinating.
Imagine walking into Costco looking for paper towels. That's it. Paper towels. Nothing else. A simple mission. You know exactly what you need. You know exactly where you're going. You plan to be in and out within 10 minutes. Then something happens. You notice a high-end espresso machine, a luxury watch, a massage chair, a giant Halloween decoration, a bottle of wine you've never seen before, a gourmet food product imported from Italy. You weren't looking for any of those things, yet suddenly, you're interested. And that's not an accident. It's one of the most carefully engineered aspects of Costco's business model. Costco executives have long described their stores as a treasure hunt. The idea is simple. Customers should never know exactly what they'll find. Unlike traditional retailers that keep products available year-round, Costco constantly rotates inventory. Items appear, items disappear, sometimes permanently, sometimes for months, sometimes forever. And that uncertainty changes consumer behavior, because uncertainty creates urgency. Instead of asking, "Should I buy this later?" customers begin asking, "What if it's gone tomorrow?" And that's a completely different question. Economists and psychologists have a name for this phenomenon: loss aversion. Human beings tend to feel the pain of losing something more intensely than the pleasure of gaining something. In simple terms, people hate missing out, and Costco leverages this beautifully. Imagine two situations. In the first, you see a coffee maker that's available every day of the year. You can buy it today, you can buy it next week, you can buy it next month. No pressure. In the second situation, you see a coffee maker at Costco. A small sign says, "While supplies last." You know inventory rotates constantly. You know it might disappear. Suddenly, the same product feels more valuable. Nothing about the coffee maker changed. Only the possibility of losing the opportunity changed. And that psychological shift drives billions of dollars in spending across retail. Costco simply executes it exceptionally well. The result is something fascinating. Customers often visit Costco without a specific shopping list, not because they need something, but because they're curious. They're wondering what treasures might be available. Think about that for a moment. Most retailers compete for purchases. Costco competes for visits, because visits create opportunities, and opportunities create spending. That's why a Costco trip often feels different from a normal grocery run. A grocery store solves problems. Costco creates discoveries. And discoveries are dangerous to budgets, because discoveries generate impulse purchases. Now, impulse purchases aren't always bad. Sometimes you genuinely find something useful. Sometimes you discover a great product at a great price. But economically speaking, every impulse purchase raises an important question. Did you save money, or did you simply spend money efficiently? Those are not the same thing. Suppose Costco sells a luxury blender for $120. Elsewhere, it costs $180. You save $60. Sounds fantastic. But what if you never planned to buy a blender? You didn't save $60. You spent $120. This is one of the most common mistakes consumers make. They confuse discounts with savings. A discount only saves money if you are already going to make the purchase. Otherwise, the discount becomes a justification for spending. And Costco's treasure hunt model creates thousands of those opportunities every year. Which brings us to the most important question of this entire video. How much does a Costco membership really cost? Not the membership fee, the real cost, the total cost of ownership. Because once we calculate that number, we'll finally be able to determine whether Costco membership creates wealth or quietly destroys it.
When most people evaluate a Costco membership, the calculation is simple. Membership fee, $65. That's it. If they save more than $65, they assume they win. But that's not how economics works, because ownership always involves hidden costs, whether we're talking about a car, a swimming pool, a timeshare, an RV, or a Costco membership. The purchase price is only the visible part. The real cost is everything attached to it. Let's build a realistic example. Meet Sarah, a typical suburban Costco member. She lives about 7.5 miles from her nearest Costco. That means every trip is roughly a 15-mile round trip. Nothing unusual. Let's assume Sarah visits Costco twice per month, 24 trips annually. That equals 360 miles every year. Now let's apply vehicle costs. Many people only think about gasoline, but economists look at total vehicle costs. Fuel, maintenance, tires, depreciation, repairs, insurance-related wear. According to IRS mileage estimates, operating a vehicle can cost around 65 cents to 70 cents per mile depending on the year and assumptions. Let's use 67 cents. 360 miles multiplied by 67 cents equals approximately $241. Already, the real cost isn't $65, it's $306, and we're just getting started. Now let's talk about time. Time is one of the most ignored economic costs because it never appears on a receipt. Suppose each Costco trip takes 15 minutes driving there, 15 minutes driving back, 30 minutes inside the warehouse. Total, 1 hour. 24 trips per year, 24 hours. An entire day of your life, gone. Now, economists debate exactly how to value personal time, but let's use a conservative figure, $20 per hour. 24 hours multiplied by $20 equals $480. Suddenly, our running total becomes membership fee, $65, driving cost, $241, time cost, $480, total, $786, and we still haven't entered the warehouse. Now comes the big one, impulse purchases. Remember the treasure hunt effect? Let's assume Sarah buys just one extra item every trip. Nothing outrageous. Maybe a seasonal snack, a kitchen gadget, a decorative item, a discounted sweater. Average cost, $15. 24 trips. That's $360. Now our total cost becomes $1,146, not $65, not even close. And this is the first major economic lesson of Costco. The membership fee is almost irrelevant. The hidden costs are what matter, because hidden costs determine whether Costco creates value or destroys it. But before Costco members panic, we need to calculate the other side of the equation, the benefits. And for many households, the benefits are enormous.
Now let's meet a different household, the Johnson family. 2 parents, 2 children, suburban Texas. This family spends heavily on essentials: groceries, cleaning products, paper goods, school snacks, pet food, gasoline. The kinds of products every household buys, regardless of where they shop. Their annual spending on groceries and household goods is roughly $14,000. Again, nothing unusual for a middle-class American family. Now suppose Costco helps them save just 6%, not 20%, not 30%, just 6%. That's $840 annually, already more than enough to cover membership costs. But we're not done. Let's add gasoline. The family owns 2 vehicles. Together they consume approximately 1,200 gallons of fuel annually. If Costco gas saves them an average of 15 cents per gallon, that's another $180. Total savings, $1,020. Now add pharmacy savings, prescription costs, over-the-counter medications, optical purchases. Let's estimate another $100. Now we're at $1,120. But there's one more piece, the executive membership. Many Costco shoppers upgrade. Why? Because it offers 2% cash back on qualifying purchases. Suppose the Johnson family spends $14,000 annually. 2% equals $280. Now their annual benefit reaches approximately $1,400. Suddenly, the economics look very different. Remember our hidden cost example, about $1,146? The Johnson family still comes out ahead. In fact, they're ahead by several $100s every year. And that's why Costco works so well for certain households. The more predictable your consumption, the more Costco's model benefits you. Families tend to consume large quantities of essentials. Large quantities create opportunities for bulk purchasing. Bulk purchasing creates savings. Savings exceed costs, everyone wins. At least, that's the theory. Because there's another type of Costco member, a member whose economics look completely different. And for them, Costco may be one of the most expensive stores they can shop at. Meet Alex, 30 years old, lives alone, apartment in Seattle. No garage, no basement, no spare freezer. No family, no children, no one helping consume giant quantities of food. On paper, Alex should love Costco. The prices are lower, the products are high quality, the membership is affordable. Yet the economics tell a different story. Let's start with food. Alex buys a giant container of mixed greens. The price per ounce is fantastic, far cheaper than the grocery store. But there's a problem. Half the container spoils before it's eaten. The same thing happens with fruit, vegetables, bakery products, prepared foods. Each purchase looks efficient, yet a meaningful percentage ends up in the trash. This is one of the hidden dangers of bulk purchasing. Consumers focus on cost per unit, but what actually matters is cost per consumed unit. Those are very different numbers. Imagine buying $20 worth of strawberries. If you eat all of them, the cost is $20. If half of them spoil, the effective cost becomes $40 for the strawberries you actually consumed. And suddenly Costco doesn't look nearly as cheap. Let's assume Alex wastes only $15 worth of food each week. That sounds reasonable, maybe even conservative. $15 per week equals approximately $780 per year. Already, we've exceeded the membership fee many times over. Now add the membership itself, $65. Total, $845. Add occasional driving costs, maybe another $180. Now we're over $1,000. Then add impulse purchases. Remember the treasure hunt effect. Alex walks into Costco intending to buy coffee, leaves with coffee and a weighted blanket, or a new air fryer, or seasonal decorations. Let's estimate just $300 annually in unnecessary purchases. Not outrageous, not extreme, just realistic. Now the total exceeds $1,300. Suddenly Costco isn't saving money, it's increasing spending. And that's the paradox. Lower prices do not automatically create lower expenses. Sometimes lower prices encourage larger purchases. Larger purchases create waste. Waste destroys savings. This is why economists care about behavior, because behavior often matters more than price. For a family of 4, Costco can be an incredible value. For a single person with limited storage and limited consumption, the economics can flip completely. And yet millions of people continue renewing every year, which brings us to one of Costco's most fascinating products, a product most members willingly upgrade to, a product that changes how people think about spending, the executive membership.
Now, let's be clear. The executive membership isn't a scam. For some households, it's an excellent deal, but the psychology behind it is fascinating. Here's how it works. Members pay a higher annual fee. In return, they receive 2% cash back on qualifying purchases. At first glance, this sounds simple. Spend more, earn more. And often that's true. But something interesting happens psychologically. The moment people receive cash back, they stop thinking only about spending. They start thinking about earning. And those are two very different mindsets. Imagine a member standing in front of a $500 television. Without cashback, they might ask, do I really need this? With cashback, they may unconsciously ask, how much cashback will I get? Notice the difference. The focus shifts from cost to reward. Behavioral economists call this mental accounting. People separate money into different mental categories. A future cashback check feels like free money, even though it originated from spending. Costco understands this extremely well. Let's run the numbers. Suppose a household spends $15,000 annually at Costco. Their 2% reward equals $300. That sounds fantastic. And for many families, it is. But here's the hidden question. Would they have spent $15,000 anyway? Or did the cashback incur additional purchases? Because if the cashback motivates even a few $100s of unnecessary spending, the benefit begins shrinking. Again, Costco doesn't need customers to spend irresponsibly, but the incentive structure naturally encourages spending. The more you spend, the more rewards you receive. And that creates a subtle but powerful feedback loop. Spend more, earn more, feel smart, spend more again. This is why Costco's economics are so fascinating.
The company aligns customer satisfaction with customer spending. When members spend more, they often feel they're winning, and sometimes they are, but not always, because the true winner depends on something much larger: renewal. Everything comes back to renewal, and Costco has become remarkably good at keeping members around.
Let's imagine you've been a Costco member for 5 years. You know where everything is. You know which products you like. You know which gas station you use. You know when seasonal items arrive. Costco has become part of your routine. Now imagine canceling. What happens? You lose access to those prices, those habits, those products, that familiarity. Economically, this is called a switching cost. Not because changing is impossible, but because changing feels inconvenient. And inconvenience has value. Netflix benefits from switching costs. Amazon Prime benefits from switching costs. Apple benefits from switching costs. And Costco does too. The more integrated Costco becomes in your life, the harder it feels to leave. This is one reason renewal rates remain above 90%. It's not just about low prices. It's about habit, and habits are incredibly powerful economic assets. In fact, some of the world's most successful businesses aren't built around products. They're built around routines: morning coffee, smartphones, streaming services, membership programs. The goal isn't simply making a sale. The goal is becoming part of daily life. Costco has accomplished exactly that. For millions of households, Costco isn't a store. It's a monthly ritual, a routine, a habit, a destination. And habits are surprisingly durable. But before we conclude, let's answer the question every potential member really wants answered. Should you buy a Costco membership?
So, is a Costco membership worth it? The answer is both simpler and more complicated than most people think. If you're a large household, have adequate storage space, consume groceries consistently, drive regularly, and can resist unnecessary purchases, a Costco membership can absolutely save you money, maybe hundreds of dollars, possibly thousands. The economics work, the savings are real, the value can be substantial. But if you're shopping for one person, living in a small apartment, struggling with food waste, or constantly buying things simply because they seem like good deals, the economics can reverse, fast. Because Costco's greatest strength is also its greatest danger. The company makes spending feel smart, and sometimes it is. But smart spending and more spending are not the same thing. That's the lesson most consumers miss. Costco isn't selling cheap products. Costco isn't selling giant packages. Costco isn't even selling memberships. Costco is selling commitment. The moment you pay that fee, something interesting happens. Costco no longer has to convince you to shop there. You start convincing yourself. Every discount feels more valuable. Every trip feels more justified. Every purchase feels slightly smarter. Sometimes that mindset creates genuine savings. Sometimes it creates additional spending. But either way, that's the real product Costco is selling. Not rotisserie chickens, not gasoline, not televisions. Commitment. And that's why Costco became one of the most successful retailers in history. Because the economics of Costco isn't about selling products, it's about creating members. And that's the economics of owning a Costco membership.